The NFL Report streams Mondays and Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the NFL app and FAST channels that you can find right here on Roku.
Yes.
NFL Preview Sunday morning on the FAST channel on Roku and the NFL app with Andrew Siciliano and my friend Steve Wyche. Good to see you, Steve.
Good seeing you, man. I mean, I'm here.
I know. It's pretty cool to have you here.
It's pretty awesome.
It is awesome to have you here. Let's just jump right into it. You were the first one there when Colin Kaepernick knelt, correct? You noticed,
no,
he sat. Correct?
That time he sat. It wasn't until a week later until he knelt.
Right. That's when Nate Boyer told him, why don't you kneel? Because that's what we do. Take a knee sometimes in the field of battle.
Right, and prayer and things like that.
Right.
It's, it's university symbolic. Yeah, but I was there on that preseason game against the Packers, week 3 preseason game, when he didn't stand. And then the whole anthem, I spoke to him after the game.
But you're just in the press box and you noticed, right? Here's
the thing. So I actually got a call from Mike Garafolo, our colleague, before the game. He said, hey, I was speaking to somebody with the Niners who said, if you have someone at tonight's game, keep an eye on Kaepernick, because the first 2 preseason games, we weren't sure if he stood for the anthem. But remember, he was coming off of knee, shoulder, and hand surgery. So they just weren't sure. Like, he wasn't in uniform. He was in sweats or whatever. So they weren't sure. So here I am, 5,000 feet in the sky, looking. So you look at the numbers of all the guys on the line. You don't see number 7 there. And at the end of the anthem, you see him kind of stand up between 2 Gatorade jugs. And then Jennifer Lee Chan, who was a reporter who covers the 49ers, also took a shot of that. So that kind of verified what I thought I saw. But under her screenshots, she's like, this was not Jeff Fisher approved. Because remember that week on Hard Knocks, Jeff Fisher did a whole bit on when you go to the national anthem, toes on the line. That's important to me. So as soon as I saw that, Rich, I started thinking back to Cap's social media over the summer. Remember, this 2016, Trump-Hillary, polarized on a lot of issues, but it was also when Alton Sterling was shot, Philando Castile. We had all of this video of these unarmed black men being shot by police. So Cap was very active on social media. I mean, like I'd never seen him. Cap was a very quiet, reserved guy, even during the bicep kissing time. You never really heard him speak. So when I saw him do this, didn't stand, I immediately was like, something might be bigger in play. It was just a hunch. It was all a hunch. And after the game, I asked him. No one asked him during his post-game press conference, so I pulled him to the side. I had a relationship with Cap. And that's when he said, I did it because I can't stand for the flag that represents a country that allows innocent black men or black people, people of color, to be shot by police, and they get paid vacations. And so that's when the whole thing started.
Do you still speak with him?
From time to time, we text back and forth. We haven't really had a conversation, I would say. I have been interviewed for a couple documentaries. One has already been released. And then Spike Lee is doing something for ESPN, which is coming out, I believe, anytime now, which is going to be a multi-part series, kind of like the series they did on O.J. Simpson and others. But it's a very extensive thing that Spike Lee's doing here.
So let's talk about the football aspect of this here, even though it's so difficult to separate everything.
Yeah.
So he sends a letter to Joe Douglas. And let me just say this, as I said at the top of this program, it makes sense for a team to go, when you're in this situation, that you've got all of these guys in this locker room who appears to be struggling with the current state of affairs with the Jets. And it does appear to be 2022. This might be, how we're on NFL Plus, everything's plus. This might be 2022 plus, right? Because there was one drive against the Patriots. It's like, where the hell did that Zach Wilson come from? Okay. And there were other moments in Dallas, 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter was a disaster.
Right.
They did win the opener. So this is 2022 plus. But we don't want 2022 anymore. The Jets don't want that anymore. So the question is, Kaepernick and kicking the tires on any possibility right now before a trade window could open up for a true bona fide elite quarterback that another team might be willing to flip, and the Jets make a Godfather offer to put this season back together again.
Right.
This long setup for saying, what do you know about Kaepernick's football readiness? What do we know about that?
All we know is his word that he's been working out, staying in shape, and that's that. Look, a lot of people work out and stay in shape. There's a difference between being in football shape, between, seeing defenses. Even And the one thing I really salute him about, well, there's multiple things, but in this letter, he's like, I'm not trying to come take Zach's job. I will just come in and be your scout team quarterback to help your defenses get ready. I'm not trying to Wally Pip anyone. Just let me come in here and basically be your best practice quarterback. I mean, that's what he's saying. And so it's just interesting because he's like, I am not trying to come in here and say, make me that guy. I'm better than anything you could have. Even though a lot of us could say he hasn't played since 2016, the end of that season. Mm-hmm. There's no way he's going to be ready. But you can see there's no way. There's a lot of guys who have not played in 7 years who can get off the couch and play football. He's just saying, let me be your practice guy. So it's very interesting because I think you made a point that their owner, Woody Johnson, his politics, he might not be able to stomach something like that.
Well, and that's the question, too, is if this gets to a point where the Jets are just kicking tires and looking for answers, and what would Kaepernick's – because you have to sit here and understand any NFL team that welcomes in somebody into their home who might use this moment as a platform for a social stance of any sort. Yep. I mean, name one, any sort. An NFL team or any team might be like, yeah, this is not – what we're looking for right now. We're looking for a quarterback. We're not looking for someone to utilize the opportunity to make a social stance as well. And as you just point out, and what we've been discussing, this particular ownership might be on the side in a more hard way of, we're not social standing here. And we're not sitting. We're not kneeling either. So what would his approach be? Do we even know what his approach would be if he gets that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, we really don't. I mean, and that's the first thing Cap's going to be asked about. Hey, yes. Are you going, if you get a chance back in the league, are you going to stand for the national anthem? Are you going to speak out? Look, this is a man of incredible moral fiber. He has sacrificed his career to take a stand for which he said wasn't personal for him, but was for a bigger issue. And so owners have had opportunities, Rich, for 7 years to bring Colin Kaepernick in for this exact same scenario.
Right.
And they have not. We have seen teams lose ball games and bring in inferior quarterbacks, and Cap was closer to his playing days instead of bringing him in.
Yes.
So there is a fear of, okay, if we bring him in, we already have the media crowd of Aaron Rodgers, albeit that he's hurt. They're still ripe for that. And now we bring him in here? Okay, so as an owner, again, I just don't think Woody Johnson or any of these owners we've seen over the years would have the stomach for that. And you know this, Rich. There's a lot of owners who feel like, okay, we've moved on. We've got slogans in the end zone. We've placated people by having messages on the helmet, unity, end racism, things like that. So we've moved on from Cap. So you reintroduce him back into that, this is going to create a whole different wave of conversation that the NFL and its owners thought they've moved away from.
Unless it's about playing football and winning football games, which is what he's trying to say here. That's
exactly
his approach. I want to come in, I want to win football games. And the Jets, I mean, at some point, and if there are guys in the locker room who are, as Rich Samini of ESPN reporting, he covers the Jets, saying that there's he's hearing there's some discord already on the defensive side of that locker room.
You knew that was coming.
Well, I mean, it comes with any team that has one side of the ball stronger than the other side of the ball, and the coach is saying the other side of the ball is still fine when we all have eyes, including the coach, and it comes across as somebody's not being held as accountable as the side of the ball that's balling out. That's always a problem. It's like a Mad Lib. You could just change the proper noun of the team and change the proper noun of the coach. We've seen it time and time again. That said, is it possible that the guys in the side of the ball that's balling out would look at Kaepernick and say, why aren't we trying him?
Well, they could, because first off, excuse me, Rich. Cap is saying, hey, I want to come in and make the strong side of the ball even stronger.
Right.
I want to come in and be their scout team quarterback. But that's when they could say, this guy is better than what we have in here. Look, you know how the Jets players feel about Zach Wilson. No matter what they say about he's gotten better, we support him. Look at when Aaron Rodgers even was being floated this summer, all the tweets from Brees Hall. They were all in. They were like, thank goodness.
Yeah, they were burning cheeseheads in effigy.
Exactly. We have moved on. So you know how they feel about Zach. So if look, Cap's letter could not have been more professionally done as a courtesy. I think he should send this out to every team. because there are a lot of teams that could use him as a scout team quarterback or whatever, but he lives in New York. He's saying this. Could it be to prove a point to see Woody Johnson won't do this because of his politics, verifying once again what I've been saying for 6 years. Who knows? But in seeing the sincerity, at least in the wording of that letter, makes me believe, hey, give me a shot. What have you got to lose? Because you guys are taking L's right now.
All right, Steve Wyche, another segment with my colleague, Steve Wyche, as well. You have a grandkid now, right?
I do. I have a grandson, Jariah, 10 months old.
Wow.
How about that?
How about that? So now, what do you make of Dion ranking his children, Steve?
Of Dion ranking his children?
Have you not heard about this?
I have not.
Yeah, he goes on his Instagram account and he ranks his children 1 through 5,
does
depending
it
on their work.
fluctuate?
Yes, it does. Just like all rankings do.
Wow.
Right?
Well,
and these guys here.
How many kids do you have, Steve?
I've got 3 sons, ages 27 through 30.
And who's your favorite?
Could you rank?
Who's my favorite?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's 33 and a third.
You're lying. You're lying.
I can't. No.
By the way,
who's
by
your
the way,
favorite?
this is just so you understand.
Yeah,
That's a
who's your
man
favorite?
who's got 1 child.
No, here's how I rank them. If you want to rank them, my oldest has been loved the longest. Okay, my middle son's been loved the second longest, and our baby has been loved the least longest. But
Who's
they're all
making
loved
you the most
equally.
upset right now?
Who's making me the most upset?
Yeah.
None, because they're all out of the house.
I
You're
don't know
taking
why you
L's right
can't-
now. You
Gotta
can't.
have power rankings.
Rich is all
fourth.
live at home, so he's got a ranking. Like, Rich, who's making you the most upset today?
None of them right now.
You're lying. Who's
None
making
of
you the
them.
most
No,
upset
None of
today?
them. They've
gotta
been
be
delightful this morning.
I was Rich. fourth.
They were delightful.
Will you save this tape for like when his child is 18 and is like, I am leaving because you're so mean to me?
It's funny. Sarah,
It
our
started
makeup
early.
artist, Sarah, her baby is not feeling well, so she's going to work a half day, and she's just like, "Hey, I'm going to take off because my baby's not feeling." Her baby's 1, and I'm like, "Yeah, it sucks when they can't tell you what's wrong,
Right.
But one day they'll be able to tell you what's wrong, and then tell you what you're doing wrong."
Oh yeah. Oh no, I've been there.
That day for you, sir, is coming.
I think it's already here.
No, no. There's a difference between a teenager and a teenager, pal.
He's very vocal.
Okay, he has no idea. Do not
No
listen
idea.
to him.
No idea.
Do not listen to him.
You have no idea.
Correct. He has no idea. Back here on our radio audience, with our Roku channel audience as well. So let's talk about this story. The story of the NFL through 3 weeks is
The Miami Dolphins.
I agree.
Rich, I don't think we can talk about them enough. I mean, they've played some tough teams,
Yep.
right? The Patriots, the Chargers, the Broncos are terrible right now. But what they are doing is so next level. And what's interesting is I got a text from someone in the organization the other day, and they said they understand that 70 burger that they put on the Broncos was unique, right? This isn't something where they're going to be showing this game tape. Look at how great we are. Look at how great Devon A-Chan. I used to call him A-Chan.
yeah, right. No,
Yeah, look at how the great, they're like, we understand we've got.
burying the tape.
They're not burying the tape.
Okay,
But as I suggested, on the NFL report, put in the archives for the highlight film. You take some things away from that and say, okay, we've got the Bills this week. All right, this is a team that knows us. They know some tendencies because we've played them twice last season. They've got 3 games of tape now. We put some things on tape to drive them crazy for preparation. That's what that Broncos practice was. Right now,
Broncos
I mean, that's what it got. That's what it is. Come on, you can see by the first half. I mean, that defense was nothing but a bunch of orange traffic cones.
there was a still shot that I saw on Twitter that which we still call it that A-Chan was running free and clear. Clearly, it was the one where he was one of the 4 who was going to the end zone. And about 5 Broncos defenders were on their backs on the ground.
How
Did
about
you
that
see
picture?
that? You saw what I'm talking about, right? They're on their backs on the ground. All the Dolphins are upright, looking down the field, blocking, looking for someone to hit and knock over as well. But it seemed like some of these defenders were bowled over because they were thrown off balance by whatever the hell the Dolphins were doing. So what are they doing? Like, what is Mike McDaniel doing? What's being discussed? What are you seeing on tape or film? Because I'd love to try to get that a little bit out of Raheem Mostert when he was on the show yesterday. What is he doing?
So a lot of it is, when you talk to people, and there was a great podcast that Jordan Rodriguez from The Athletic did this summer called The Play Callers, where she took the whole Shanahan tree group, McVay, McDaniel, all these guys, Kevin O'Connell, to talk about the offense.
Yes.
And McDaniel is the run game guru.
That's what Mostert said. He met him as he was the run game coordinator. When he arrived in San Francisco,
Yes.
Mostert was already there.
Right. And so I've talked to people about the stretch zone scheme, what Kyle and McDaniel do, and they've got the outside zone, the inside zone, but they incorporate like a mid-zone run stuff. So they can give you looks with the offensive line that look like runs that turn into pass because their passing game is so quick.
Yes.
It just allows them to do certain things because of the quickness of how they operate and the speed of their players. They've got speed like nobody else at all of their skill positions. And the other thing that's being talked about is their motions, especially with Tyreek Hill, because they're almost on CFL level, right? Where he goes in motion sometimes and he bows and it looks like he's moving forward.
That? Yes.
So,
that's legal.
That is legal where they're up to the edge. They're almost at the right tackle,
Yes.
a pass protection thing. But it's almost like, as our Cameron Wolf said, it's like a 200-meter runner in track. He's coming around the curve, and he's already at full speed. So if you're a DB who's static or you're traveling with him, he's gone. And that's why he is springing open. He's an exceptional route runner. But some of the other route concepts that they do, it's getting guys open, and Tua is out there right now just playing Madden because he is seeing guys wide open, or he's throwing them open with the timing of what they do.
He's so good.
He's so good.
And this is a guy who was just, he's not Herbert, right?
Right.
And
he doesn't have the slingshot.
He doesn't, right. And he can't, he just doesn't have it. The size is not what's going to work in the NFL. And of course, he wasn't healthy last year. That gives more credence to that. He's the MVP of the league right now.
Right now, he absolutely
3 weeks in, and I will say this before we continue on. Sam Darnold, if I'm not mistaken, was the MVP of the league through 3 weeks a couple years ago, right? In Carolina?
Yeah, correct.
When he was balling out. Remember Carolina was 3-0, and then McCaffrey hurt his hamstring on a Thursday night against the Houston Texans, and it all went right downhill.
Yeah.
But he's no Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't happening unless he gets hurt or, Mahomes or somebody.
Correct.
But, I mean, what's just going on with the Dolphins offensively?
Yes.
It's frightening, but here's why I think they're going to be there at the end.
Yes, sir.
Is their defense. I mean, we are not talking about the fact, because they're still coming together, but they've got Nick Chubb and Jalen Phillips, and they're so good at all three levels.
That's right.
And you're seeing Vic Fangio now start to warm teams up. These guys are starting to understand what he wants to do. That defense, when it really starts to hit his stride, and they start getting takeaways to get to in that offense the ball more, that's what's happening in Kansas City right now. The Chiefs defense is playing lights out. Right? When Miami's defense start doing that with the way they're operating, that's what's going to make them scary.
Steve Wyche here on the Rich Eisen Show. Again, check out the NFL Report Mondays and Thursdays, 7:15 Eastern on the NFL app, fast channels right here on Roku. NFL Preview on Sunday with us, Andrew Siciliano on the Roku Fast Channel right here on the NFL Fast Channel right here on Roku. We asked before who's going to stay undefeated the longest. Miami, Philly, San Francisco. What's the poll results as they currently stand right now, Chris Brockman?
Yeah, the last undefeated team in the NFL, 49ers, 53%. Dolphins, 27%. Eagles, 20%.
What do you think?
I'm with you. The 49ers, based on their schedule. I mean, they got, the Cardinals this week, and I think the Cowboys. And then their schedule just kind of lays out. I think what the Dolphins and Eagles meet a little bit earlier. I mean, so that's going to happen. I just think it's going to be the 49ers. And how about this for a sleeper MVP?
Please.
Brock Purdy. When are people going to start talking about this guy being legit?
Hey,
when he does it for a full season.
Please check out my Friday show open after they beat the Giants. That's how I came on the air.
It's got to be part of the discussion.
That's why I love having him on. Look, I always love guests who echo my sentiments.
Yes.
But I also, genuinely like you when we're not on the air, as you know.
Well, same here, Rich.
So, I mean, it's just because you can't call a player an MVP or an assassin when he looks like he's going to home economics. You know what I mean? Like that's
exactly what it looks like.
That's maybe what it is.
Did you talk to his teammates?
Please.
He's got that Joe Burrow killer in him.
Is that right?
Right. They are like, he may look like this dude, but we know if we have to go 40 yards in 45 seconds, he is going to have fun with it.
What do you mean Joe Burrow killer? He's got that?
Like Joe Burrow's like, Joe Burrow's an assassin. Right. Like, and so they're like, he's got that in him. And even after that Giants game where Wink Martindale was warming him up, he was sending people, he was just like, whatever, hit me, I'm still coming. And that's when more guys, again, were more and more like, this is our guy. And there's an old saying in football, you got your quarterback that everyone's going to respond to if he will dive in a pile for a fumble. Niners guys, Brock Purdy's that guy.
So let's talk about the 2-1 team that might rise. We'll throw the Cowboys out of it because obviously Dallas, prior to that clunker in Arizona, in the conversation amongst the league's elite, and I still think that they are. Trayvon Diggs being hurt, notwithstanding. You got Cleveland, you've got Pittsburgh, you've got the Ravens, you've got, let's throw the Chiefs out as well.
Correct.
Any team in the NFC South, you've got the Commanders, you've got the Seahawks. Which team would you buy right now out of all of them that I just mentioned?
Well, out of all of them, I'm buying Cleveland.
Go for it.
Their defense is insane. We knew Jim Schwartz, the new defensive coordinator, was going to make a difference. He has made a significant difference. I mean, what he's doing with Myles Garrett, he's not static. He's moving him all over the line of scrimmage.
How about the Titans sending tight ends?
I've never seen it.
I've never seen that either. Shadowing him to the point where it caused a pre-snap penalty on the Titans.
A delay of game.
I've never seen that.
We're doing this? We're doing this now?
Right.
I mean, usually they'll just, someone will look and say, okay, you pick him up, if we need help.
We'll chip one guy.
Titans were like,
the Vrabel's like, screw that.
It's like, you're that good. And I mean, they're lining him up over center. You're seeing more and more stand-up guys. Max Crosby's doing it. Micah Parsons doing it. But what he's doing, because he's got Zadarius Smith, and he's got some interior guys and some depth on the interior who are playing. They're healthy at linebacker, and they've got stud corners, in Newsome and Ward.
Mm-hmm.
So they are. But what I saw to Deshaun last week, after having just not a good game against the Steelers, and they were warming him up too. Nick Chubb's not in there, so he may say, okay, now we can run more of the shotgun stuff, more what I like to do and not focus so much on the run game. We'll incorporate it, but now we can run an offense more of what I like to do instead of me having to share some of these duties. He's a shotgun quarterback. He's not someone under center who's got to hand the ball off. So now they're adjusting to him more so than adjusting to Chubb. I think he's going to come around because, Amari Cooper, we don't talk about him enough being a great receiver.
Right.
You saw what they did against Tennessee together.
You think they can win the division?
Yes. Yeah, I've been saying that from the jump. I think they can win the division. And now with Burrow being in his situation, it's going to be a slog just because that division's really good.
Yes.
But Cleveland could very much win that division.
Yeah, I mean, they've got another division game. I mean, the AFC North was, the first month of the season is brought to you by the AFC North. Yes. Cleveland's playing Baltimore at home.
That's going to be such a good game.
Always is.
I mean, because the Ravens, coming off that loss.
The 2 minutes I have left, what was Davante Adams referring to about how he doesn't have time? Because the way that you come out of that is okay, you don't have time, meaning what? For this season? For this trade deadline season?
I think
what does that mean?
That's what I took. Like, okay, if we're going to go down this rabbit hole again, get me out of here. I'm tired of losing. Tired of us kind of doing the same things that aren't working.
What does that mean? McDaniels, the Patriot way? Or the fact that they got rid of his college friend that he came to play with? Is that what it was?
I mean, I think all of it's there, but I think more the losing. Like, I don't think he's got anything against Josh, so to speak. They're just not functioning. Their defense, they've been trying to fix their secondary since Nnamdi left. That's like a Captain Steubing reference, by the way.
I know, right? Yeah.
But it's just the same thing. No matter who they're putting in a quarterback, they can't get Josh Jacobs going. And I think he's kind of like, I'm getting a little long in the tooth of my career. I see what's happening with D-Hop. I see how he was treated. Maybe let's get me out of here before I hit that part of my career.
Have you ever heard a receiver who's been targeted 20 times sound more angry after the game in your entire life?
That's why I think it's the losing. I mean, Davante Adams, you know him. He is the ultimate competitor.
He sure is.
You watch him practice and the way he plays, he competes, man. He is not out there for stats.
So who is not doing it? Who's in that locker room that Derek Carr came out after a loss last year with tears in his eyes saying something's giving off an alarm bell?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's personnel. They're just – look, we know some organizations, no matter who they bring in, they just don't win. One of which you are a fan of. And so, I mean, as I said, I'm just saying, Right. But I mean, it's just there's something that's not triggering there. And – for him to say that, because he's a pro, he is a pro. For him to say that, it's not to me so much what's in the rearview mirror, it's what he sees coming ahead.
The NFL Report, Mondays and Thursdays, 7:15 Eastern on the NFL app and fast channels. Roku is a great spot for you to check this man out, Steve Wyche, and then with Andrew Siciliano on Sundays on the fast channel. Good to see you, Steve.
Good seeing you, Rich. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Still here on the Roku channel, though. Our radio audience just went away. I've got 90 seconds. What else is in your notebook? What else is out there that you want to hit? You got anything?
I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, there's Everyone's talking about the Brandon Staley decision. And,
yeah, right.
And
nobody kicks field goals, man. And Brandon Staley he's the one that always seems to have the most spectacular ones placed on his plate, and then the fails are spectacular.
Yes.
And then the saves of the failure becoming a success are equally as spectacular. Like this past week,
that saved him.
You know what I mean?
Him. I mean, one game his defense really plays well. And then instead of making a team go 75 against a defense that's playing well, you're making them go 24.
But Herbert, 40 of 47
He's
for
amazing.
400. Like this is with Kellen Moore doing that with Keenan Allen. Those two guys must have been like looking at each other and going, like, that's what we've been talking about around here.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. But I mean, let's not have a coach blow the save. I mean, that's almost what happened. Can you imagine them like, wait, what's going on here? So, but there's another team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another team, the Chargers. Let's not count them out.
Okay.
For as crazy as that is.
Oh, I know. They're only a game out of first.
And I tell you this, they've got a rookie pass rusher who's going to emerge in the defensive rookie of the year. Mm-hmm. And that's Tuli Tuipulotu out of USC. Already has 2 sacks.
Okay.
He is somebody who is wreaking havoc alongside Joey Bosa. You're not hearing Khalil Mack anymore.
And they take on the Raiders, too, in a big game this weekend. That is huge. Steve, let's do this more often. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.